Let's give them something to talk about. I see the energy running out. I got a planet to run around. Okay. You ain't do nothing but run your mouth. No, I don't want to be.
It is 10 a.m. We just PR'd right now.
We did.
That was a personal record.
That just happened.
We started our podcast on time.
We've been slipping back like further and further and further over the last couple of weeks.
Have you?
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. I thought the show was at 9.
So that's why you adjust. That's how you adjust your goals to accommodate to give yourself 3 hours.
You mean move the goalpost?
We just moved the goalpost back a little bit to make it to accommodate. Hey, good morning, Athena. Thanks for joining us this morning.
It is so nice to see you both.
Yeah,
this is kind of cool. I'm looking forward to this. This happened rather quickly, and so yeah, and super quickly. And we're honored to be able to be the first ones to talk to you about it live.
Cool.
Though there's already some really good content online about it. Yeah, which is
exciting.
Great.
Yeah, it is. I know we haven't got a chance to talk since the seminar even.
Yeah.
A download, no nothing. So
I know. I was hoping we could come on and like talk about the seminar. And then it's like the last 72 hours it's been going off.
Yeah, we were gonna. This podcast started, by the way, everyone should know, is a podcast to talk about Athena's amazing company, Scale Nation, training trainers on how to work with large body athletes. We hosted one of her seminars here, and so we wanted to kind of do a recap and re-engage people and get people excited about that. And then all of a sudden, she decided to have some sort of epiphany about. And a way to kind of call out the antagonist and bring attention at the same time. That was
awesome.
Bring attention to her amazing system and methodology and her passion at the same time. So this is a win-win. This is an amazing woman. But before we do that, I want to do a commercial real quick. Sorry, because I'm kind of pumped about this. CrossFit's been doing a lot of work on the website and for the affiliate crew. And one of them is search engine optimization. But I noticed this. I'm a little late to the game. I think this happened like at the beginning of the week, but I didn't notice it till like 2 days ago. They've included a local link. So if you allow your computer or your phone to know your location, it will show you on the homepage. Oh, you pulled it up. Thank you, Jamie. But yours is not the same as mine. Let me share mine.
I'm on .com.
Let me share mine. Which is, so you have up here.
Oh, I see. You have the deal. Okay.
Yeah. And so it comes.
I don't share Google with my location.
So which is why I wanted to share my page. So if you look on here, which is really cool, this is the CrossFit main site in Diablo. CrossFit is the gym. If I'm close to whatever gym it is, whatever affiliate's close to me is going to be up on the page. And then they can click and they can contact us. And so, which is cool. There's Sweatshop, which is about, they're 1 mile away, and Sweatshop's an amazing gym. And then there's End Zone, which is not too far away. And you can kind of scroll through Concord CrossFit, which is down the street, and then Pleasant Hill CrossFit, which is over at the YMCA, which is a really cool spot too. It's and then you can click through and then visit the map, which is neat, and then it shows you all the freaking CrossFits in the area. And what it's done is basically kind of drawing people into an affiliate near you, and we've started to get leads from this. Mm-hmm. Not great ones yet, but we're starting to get leads where we never had them before, ever. So this and they're investing a lot more money in search engine optimization. But anyway, so just trying to get the word out to affiliate owners and to people out there that it's pretty. This one is a huge one. It's a validation. Like, to be able to have people go to the CrossFit main website, I don't even need to direct them to my website. Direct them to the main website, and they're going to see, if they're in the area, they're going to see my gym. That's freaking cool. So anyway, that was my commercial. I'm done.
That is cool.
Yeah, really cool. They're doing a lot of neat stuff with on that side of things. Though I wanted to, well, God, we got so many things we could talk about Athena. For those of you that don't know Athena, she has been in and around CrossFit for probably 10 years now or more.
7.
7 years. And I came across her and learned about Athena through a documentary that CrossFit did about 7 years ago. There was an amazing documentary. If you can dig it up and find it, it's super freaking impressive. And it tells basically Athena's story of how she lost about 200 pounds, right? Over 200 pounds.
Yeah.
And through CrossFit, literally, disabled. She has knee issues, and we can get into that a little bit. But the documentary is powerful because it gave me just some really interesting perspective on what it might be like to be morbidly obese and not in control of your own kind of physical destiny on your own. I don't know if I phrased that right or said that right.
That was that was interesting.
And so
why don't you share your story?
Well, yeah. So I think it would be cool because, but I wanted to share the story.
Yeah.
And and then move through. And what I learned about here's what I took away. Let me tell you what I took away. I know everyone on press probably going shut up and let her talk. I will. She'll get to talk a lot. But I just want to tell you my perspective coming from a fitness guy that's been fit most of his life and lean most of his whole life. As I looked at this, and I was like, oh, I didn't know what the roots in the ground were, roots of the tree that can contribute to morbid obesity and weight gain and the emotional issues that are all surrounding that. And I was blown away. And I felt so guilty for having the thoughts that I had prior to this, prior to watching that video. And then when Athena reached out, or I don't know if I reached out to you or you reached out to me regarding doing her large body seminar here. Well, she got mad at me for a comment I made online about something.
I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad. I was actually really intrigued.
That's right.
You had done a podcast and we're talking about bariatric surgery.
Yes.
I remember the exact moment that I decided to reach out to you because you were sitting there talking about this person that said that they wanted to get bariatric surgery. However that came up. Jamie, maybe you'll remember, but I remember Craig leaning back in his chair and he's just like, we're going to have to just start considering this. And there was something about the way that you said that felt so powerless. And I'm like, we got to talk about this because it doesn't have to be one or the other. It doesn't have to be, hey, everybody don't do the bariatric surgery. Would we hope that they could consider this option? Yeah, but we got to get to a point where we say, hey, it's okay to utilize whatever there is in the arsenal. It doesn't mean that you still can't capture that person to come to the box and work out. They're still going to have to do the work.
Yes.
Regardless. So
the end result was a coaching seminar here, and we had about 20 people come in and go through the program. And every single one of them, I had 5 of my coaches here, and they were just blown away with what we didn't know about coaching large body athletes. Just from the nutrition side of it to the emotional side of it to the experience for them versus what we think the experience is for the average person, and then the scaling. We learned so much about all of that. It literally, I cannot recommend this seminar enough as your athlete, because you are going. We're more and more. We're seeing this more and more.
I mean, I've been.
We had another 400-pound athlete join our gym last week.
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I've been training people for 17 years, and I've worked with a lot of people, and there was so much takeaway for me personally out of that seminar, and I went into it with understanding different ways of scaling, but once we dug into the tree system, that was like, okay, this there's a lot more involved than we can really address here in the gym. But at the same time, like you said, it's just one day at a time. Just get them in here one day, and this is how we can do that.
Craig, when you I think it was like maybe the day after the seminar, I think you had Dr. West on.
Yeah.
And you were having a conversation about that tree. And I wanted to tell you that I respect your guys' thoughts on that. Like, so basically what you said is like, well, at first I thought it was kind of corny, but I'm like, just stay with me. Just stay with me. So, I mean, they're basically, you know, the assignment is they basically got to draw these trees. And I could see the looks on their faces as we started this little activity. They're kind of looking at each other, and it's hilarious because it happens in every single seminar. They're like, oh, I'm going to draw a tree. But once you get everything on there and it's visual and you can see how interconnected these things are, it's powerful.
Can you briefly describe the tree and what it is? Because I know people are going to want to know what the tree represents.
Yeah. So
this is important for people to know. And pay attention to this part, because this really helps clarify with perspective on the issue.
So the tree, when we talk about obesity, what we're talking about is like this tree. The tree represents the body, and you draw the base and you draw the leaves. And we have everybody put the roots of obesity on the bottom, kind of like one by one. And we start talking about, you know, environmental things. Now we preface this conversation by saying these are not excuses, they're factors. We have to identify that there are factors, because unless somebody is able to work through all these, they're never going to be able to get to where they want to go. It's not saying that these are excuses. We're saying every single one of them is a consideration that they're going to have to deal with at some point. So we go through, you know, environmental factors. We go through like trauma, which is, you know, similar to like what happened in my story. We go through everything imaginable. We go through physical issues, injuries. We go through anything that contributes to somebody that could have a weight problem. And the interesting thing that happens on this tree is that no person has a similar tree. They're all different. So when we say, hey, how do we treat obesity? It's a complex question because it's going to be different for everyone. Somebody might come into your gym that truly, like, I'm trying to think of a scenario. We give a couple scenarios, you know, in the course. Maybe one of them is, you know, they were really athletic in high school. They got into college, started putting on the college 10 and then the college 20. And maybe it really, truly is just a lifestyle change. And they come in and you're able to get them on proper nutrition, get them moving, and they're on their way and they can fly. Somebody else that comes in, maybe this scenario is, hey, their weight goes all the way back from the time that they were 5. You know, they've suffered emotional abuse, physical abuse, trauma. I mean, you just start adding on all the layers. And so is it the same? Well, the answer is no. They might need all kinds of additional help. It could mean therapy. It could mean psychotherapy. It could mean getting, you know, medical issues straightened out. It could mean a number of things that you don't have the capacity as a coach to handle, nor should you try some of these, but allowing somebody to say, hey, bring in all these extra tools and we can be really good here. But I think what we see is they try to do everything and they can't.
I think that was really a good point too. Like the fact that the roots are not excuses. They are factors, and they are things that have to be considered in order to you know, make some changes. Like if you're just going to say, oh, that's just an excuse, you're just blowing off the underlying issue that could be causing everything or a part of everything.
Right.
If someone was emotionally abused or physically abused as a child, and their outlet was food for comfort and safety, you're not gonna resolve that with 100 words of fitness.
No.
That's gonna take a different gradual approach, a respect for what happened in the past. You're not trying to fix the problem. And this is one of the things I love about the Scale Nation is you're meeting them where they are, and then giving them you're giving them a workout that meets them where they are and is gradual, and then motivates them and makes them feel safe and comfortable enough to come back tomorrow.
Right.
You got to get them to come back tomorrow. And that was the part that kind of struck me as really important and significant in terms of thinking about it. And the reason is, like, everyone thinks, well, everybody walks, it's easy with a regular class here. You walk out, everybody's high-fiving, they're having coffee, they're talking in the parking lot. You're like, oh, they're planning on what workouts they're going to do the rest of the week.
Right.
But that's not the same for someone that is either first time to fitness or has done very limited fitness but has never been in a CrossFit gym in a group fitness environment and is carrying, 100, 200, 300 extra pounds on their body. It's a way different experience. So when they're walking out, you want them thinking, hey, I can do this. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, not holy shit, thank God I survived that without falling over and embarrassing myself.
Right. Well, we do this in the course too, and we should probably do it here. We're not saying everybody. We're saying the potential is great.
Yeah, right.
Chances are, they're going to have a much different experience. That person that's walking in with 300 or 400 pounds, I guarantee you, has a lot more that they're carrying around than just the weight that they're going to have to work through.
Yeah.
And I know that CrossFit's a gateway drug. As a matter of fact, I listened to Peter.
Yes.
I listened to Peter Attia talk this morning with James Clear, Atomic Habits.
Oh,
Great podcast, by the way, just released last week. And they actually have a small section where they talk about CrossFit.
Okay.
And Peter Attia says, he goes, that's one of the kind of cool things about CrossFit is that people go there and then there's community people and it becomes their church essentially, and it draws them back in. And then James Clear said, well, what's even better is they start doing other habits get stacked on top that they aren't aware of because they're part of that group. They start wearing the same knee sleeves. They start wearing the same, they buy the same shoes,
start wearing all the nanos.
Right. And they all start eating similarly, because of that group environment. And he nailed it. Like that is 100% true about CrossFit. And,
it evolves.
And
it's okay for it to evolve.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea too. Because starting in a gym, like if you're not a very fit or active person, it's like this is a starting point that could open up an adventure outside of the gym, like hiking or doing some kind of a race or just challenging yourself outside of what you would call your comfort zone. And CrossFit could be that thing that, like you said, the gateway drug that kind of pushes you on to the next level.
Yeah,
the next step, the next adventure.
Yeah.
And so for those that are obese and severely obese, you've got to make sure that their experience is scaled appropriately for their capacity. And when we look at someone as they walk in, we make some generalized assumptions, but I think it's very difficult to understand really what's going on physically, which is why one of the reasons why I like that Buttery Bros video that came up that Athena and I talked about, first workout at 300 pounds, because
they should have gone through that seminar.
They should have, but I did like the video from the perspective of that when they put the extra, most of them had to put over 100 pounds on.
Yeah.
When they put it on.
The multiple bags.
Yeah,
multiple bags.
They were like, you could tell. I mean, they were like, holy crap. Like it was overwhelming. And we don't have that. We can't comprehend what that is until other people in here, are on this, that are listening to this podcast, do the same thing. And that's what Athena does in the Scale Nation seminar. But she does it in a really unique way. We didn't put on 300 pounds. We put on, how much weight did we put on, Athena?
10
pounds.
Oh, that was just 10 pounds?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. No, that's bad.
You know, that's
She puts it was great. She has these vests that we
The
wore,
aprons, yeah.
the aprons that we wore, and then she puts 10-pound water bags, and they hang low.
Too low.
Too low but they hang low, and then she has us do things with it, like jumping jacks and jump rope, and then jumping up onto a plate, and you instantly. Like again, it was one of those just stupid moments where I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I needed this to tell me."
I think like
it was so
anybody listening to this that coaches needs to go grab a medicine ball and do 50 step-ups on a box, a 12-inch box.
Yeah,
and you'll learn a lot.
Hang on
just
a second.
Perspective on that.
No. Hang on a second, Jamie, because remember how we did grab the medicine ball. Remember how we held the medicine ball?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You got to hold it like this. You got to hold it in the front.
Hold in the front. So one that's taxing, the first thing that won't be the first thing you notice. That's what you'll notice about 10 or 15 step ups in is like,
first thing you notice,
my shoulders are starting to burn.
Get on the box.
Yeah. But so she had us hold this medicine ball in front of us. So we got this extra medicine ball weight, and then you go to do a step up, and purposefully she didn't want us to be able to see the box because when you're if you're
larger body
athlete, you may not be able to see your feet.
Yeah.
And then just stepping up on the box. It was like, again, light bulb. What? And you're timid, and it takes you a few steps before you can do that.
It's eye-opening. It was an amazing seminar.
Yeah.
Thank you, by the way. It's funny how those activities evolved. And in the beginning, the first couple seminars was, in my opinion, it was an absolute train wreck because we don't know. So we're going to have to try it. Right. But in those first couple seminars, we call it Bertha. It was like an 85-pound weight vest. And it was effective, sort of, but it was a monstrosity to try and like, how are you going to take that with you? You know what I mean? Like it's so
on the airplanes and everything else.
Yeah. The logistics stuff.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking that when we were putting the course together, and I thought it was a great idea until we were actually. This is why this conversation about the Buttery Brothers video is so interesting, because we thought initially that it was going to take weight. We need to load people down.
Yeah.
But when we did that, it's not the weight. Yes, the weight presents challenges, and yes, that's a factor, right? But it's really not that we're trying to get to. That's not the majority of the complications that people are having is the burden of the extra weight. It's everything else. And something as simple as like 10 pounds, I think one of the greatest moments in that seminar, because Craig's face is so visual, and it was
so good
watching him, and it was the greatest moment, and we got it on film, by the way. The greatest moment of all time is watching Craig's face. Like, he was smiling, and he's doing the jump rope, and you could tell that he was a little confused, but he was like, all right, what's going on here? Because we didn't tell him what was going to happen. And then I think he took I'll have to review the film, but I think maybe 4 or 5 jumps is all it took with this silly little vest on to understand, oh shit, that's what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't, like Craig, you can speak to this. It doesn't require weight to get really fucking uncomfortable.
That's right. It's true.
It didn't require the load.
No.
Yeah.
If you have excess fat that is hanging below your waistline, it moves, and not understanding and we and again, it's one of those things where it's not take it for granted. It's just so we just overlook it. I just don't think it's that big a deal.
Yeah.
But then you do something like jump rope, and you realize, one, it's moving, so it's making the movement very difficult. It changed my body position.
Yeah.
Right. And it was more taxing on the lower back. Instantly, you could tell that.
Yep.
But then when your weight smacks you in your junk as you're jumping,
very eye-opening.
Yeah, it was, and it happened to almost every guy. Everybody got that had their ball smashed.
But it
was like, oh
yeah.
Yeah. that's a problem.
And that was the first exercise that we did too, as far as our breakout group after
It
the
was.
the
Yeah.
talk. Yeah.
It was.
It's a good way to kick it off.
I think it made everything else. I'm only guessing, but the assumption would be like that one was a good learning lesson. So maybe, did you go into the second one going, okay, what's the, I figured.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, that was you guys nailed that from programming. I think you did the whole warm up and the concept of scaling forward too, like just warming up through that scaling forward process just to understand like we want to be moving forward versus starting at one point and then stepping backwards.
Right.
You get that small victory and you keep moving forward. But having us start with that as a skill component as part of our warm up, it opened our eyes up to one specific detail outside of the weight, like just the contact of that. But then going on to the next stuff, it's like, okay, well now we're way more. I personally was way more receptive as far as this is a common life thing for a lot of people.
Right.
As a coach, you're getting constant feedback, right?
Exactly.
And you have to really, really pay attention and manage very quickly, much more quickly than with the average person that in here that we're coaching.
Yes.
Like you got to give feedback right away. You got to make adjustments on the fly. And like Jamie Lee said, and this is one of the things I loved about the seminar too, is you learn to scale forward. You don't start big and scale back.
Mm-hmm.
You start very, very small steps, and which builds confidence.
Yeah.
One of the other things that I thought was fascinating, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it again because of the Buttery Bros thing where they jumped in. They made some classic mistakes that, and I don't want to say mistakes. They just do the things that I did, that all of my coaches would do. Instantly they pull out a rower and they go sit on a rower, and they don't say anything about sitting on that rower.
Yeah.
And Athena pointed out to me, first question she asked, she goes, does anybody know the weight limit on a rower? And we were all in the room going, no, never really had to think about that. And they're
even the boxes, like as we were working on the boxes.
Yes.
That
they inspected the boxes, and she wanted to know you guys know what the weight limit is on the box? No, I don't know what the weight limit is on the box.
Well, you know what?
By the way, let me just one more thing. Now, again, I talk too much, but I just want to say, because everybody thinks you're awesome and you're so nice and you're polite. Athena took the opportunity throughout this entire
to roast
our seminars to roast me and hold my gym as an example for what not to do repeatedly.
I would say what not to do, but this is where you can make it better. This is where you can scale forward.
From the parking lot where I didn't have proper parking for handicap, to the lobby where I don't have the right fucking shirts, to the gym where my equipment, I had no idea what the weights were for. The entire day.
Look, I'll tell everybody that Craig was so graceful. He was so graceful, and I swear to God, I tried to do it in the nicest way possible.
It was awesome. You nailed it. It was really, really good. Because, like I said, it opened up so much perspective.
It was my favorite. The handicap spot was my favorite.
I was clueless. Like, where's she going with this? I thought maybe she doesn't like my shaded tent out front. Like, that's awesome. Everybody loves my shaded tent.
Craig, I gotta tell you, you put the cherry on the cake when you're like, "Come outside, look at my barbecue area. Isn't this rad?" And I'm like, "We'll talk about this tomorrow."
That ammunition before she even came into the location.
Oh my God.
Freaking awesome.
It was really good, and it provided moments of humor throughout the entire.
It was the best day ever.
Yeah. So, but anyway, the equipment, going back to the equipment, and we realized, like, because I remember when we had a member in here come in, weighed 400 pounds, and we put him on the rower. Like, I didn't.
Yeah.
And that probably now in retrospect, like, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I definitely would not have done that. Like, we understand.
Or even had set up the way we did in our
we understand why a rower is valuable for someone.
Yeah.
And then Athena pointed out too, when you get someone in the rower, if their feet are in the foot straps, you can't reach the handle.
Yeah.
And that you can actually go online, you can find devices that will set the handle further
What's that
back.
called again?
It's called the Fit Foot Plate. Fit Foot Plate.
Yep.
And
lowers the foot position and allows you to grab the handle.
It basically, what it does is that when you have when you have really large hips, like larger bodies tend to have, you get on the rower and the problem is your hips are wider. And so your feet have to come way in the center. And what happens is it's so tough. Maximum weight on the C2 rower is 500. Yeah, that's true. Gosh, hey, Craig, you should tell Corey what you learned about the C2. Is the maximum
It's not
500 pounds? It's true. The frame is, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. The frame.
Oh, that's right.
Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Minor detail.
Yes. So the frame weight is 500 pounds, Corey, but the little plastic rollers that roll along the frame rail
Are not.
are not 500 pounds.
Not have a 500-pound capacity.
Yeah.
But what happens is the feet have to come all the way to the center, right? So it kind of squishes it just makes it super uncomfortable. And if your legs stay like that over excessive amounts of time and working out and getting on the rower, it can cause injury and it hurts. So the plate just pushes the feet out a little bit and allows people to move their feet out. So they're more like more similar to a squat, like your natural squat position. So it's just awesome. There's been a couple gyms that have purchased those after, and they've got members that are saying they won't go back to the regular rower. It's cool.
So, and then for, things like the other thing is for the assault bike or the echo bike, that was another cool one. We showed better ways we were shown better ways to get onto the bikes from behind, stepping on the footrest instead of stepping on the pedals.
Yeah.
Just kind of stepping over. But the best was, again, making a larger body athlete feel comfortable in class and being able to do very similar movements is I think essential to creating that kind of comfort, and then also getting them to want to come back tomorrow.
Come back the next day.
And we've used this one already. A couple of my coaches have used this technique already. With the Rogue Echo bike, they pulled a bench up behind the bike.
Yeah, make a recumbent bike,
and they make a recumbent bike out of it.
Yeah, I was doing that with Dana after her knee replacement.
Yeah.
Did she like it?
Oh, I got something for you.
Yeah.
Did she like it?
Yeah.
So you sit, but so you put a chair or a bench behind the echo bike or assault bike, and then and adjust it to their foot position, and now they can pedal the bike. With the rower, if you don't have those foot straps, you simply put their feet on the floor. Or the other one was
use a bench to sit down.
Bench. You put a bench across the middle of the rower, and they sit on the bench, and then
very effective.
Yeah. So they're in a stationary position, but still very effective. And you may need to put weight on the.
Yeah, use weights, use dumbbells. And there's so many ways that you can modify all of those. Yeah.
Yeah. You just have to really step back. And that's after that seminar, I went home and wrote out all kinds of progressions off of just, our basic archetype positions and movements that we do.
So we, So I saw the Buttery Bros video, and again, it's they did the 300 pounds just to give people some perspective. And the difference here is that the coach came into it, the coach knew that these guys were already super fit, and all they're doing is and rather than emulating it, a large body athlete, they essentially were like, here's a fit person that's carrying an extra 150 pounds. This particular workout, though,
baseline.
They go, and the coach goes, well, yeah, we can't do a regular CrossFit workout, so we're gonna scale you back. And I saw this workout, and I instantly thought of Athena.
Scale it back.
Yes. And
problem right there.
Yeah, and
no.
Not a problem.
It says beginner workout up in the
it's not a problem.
Yeah.
In true form, because I don't want this to be I definitely don't want to criticize their work. I love their work. And I don't want them to look at this and be like, Athena came into, which is not. I was actually very impressed. I was re-inspired by it. It took
Oh,
a
yeah.
couple days, and
No, the video, yeah, agreed. The video is good, and their perspective is good, and the commentary is good. What I want to add is essentially your input as a large body athlete coach, and this is where, because I think where we're looking at is Buttery Bros and the coach that did this are where most CrossFit athletes and coaches are today. This is our perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like as if after going through that seminar, like I walked away from that with like, oh, okay, there's a whole different perspective. There's just a little perspective that's missing here just because they hadn't gone through that process. So
Buttery Bros, this is not a criticism, but but when you look at this workout, Athena, how do you scale this workout for someone that is 100 pounds overweight and more deconditioned?
I was just gonna say it all depends, and that's something that we go into in the seminar at pretty great length. We don't want to assume when they come in and they weigh 100 or 200 extra pounds that they can't do this. We got to figure out a way to get to that answer quickly. That's why we always recommend like do the intake with people, because that's where you're going to learn like what their capacity is. But it all depends because, and again, you know this, Craig, Jamie, somebody that weighs, you could have two people that weigh 100 pounds that could come in and have completely different challenges. It all depends on how they carry their weight. It all depends on if they have challenges in other areas. You don't know. I could look at that and say, oh, how do I scale this for 100 pounds? It is so athlete specific.
Yeah.
It all depends.
Which is why it's important to meet them where they are.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's that was an interesting weekend, Craig. And here's what I do want to talk about, because it was an interesting first impression for me. This was a growth opportunity from me, and I'll tell you why it was. Because initially, when you sent it to me, I I couldn't get past the cover image. And I'm like, well, I don't want to watch this horse shit. You know what I mean?
This video right here.
The cover image of the video. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch this because, like what was the cover image telling me? It's kind of like I think what a lot of people don't understand is like, we want to make CrossFit accessible, but I think that it's helpful to understand, like there's a history in imagery. It's what keeps people out of the gym. And so we have a lot of like affiliate owners who in past months and years have said, look, like we want to be able to show that CrossFit is a place where people can come. But the problem is we don't have any larger bodies. What do we do in terms of our marketing? How can we show that this is a place where they can come and we want to help them? We want to be this place for them, but we don't have any larger bodies. So where do we get the imagery? We go to Google and we type in, obese person working out. They are the most god-awful images that you can possibly imagine. And that it's just some of this long stereotype. Now those images are changing now, but that's what you see. That's what I saw. Sorry, not you. That's what I saw when I saw that cover image. Well, then, of course, I clicked through it, right? The homework assignment was watch the video, and I did. And I'm like, okay. Well, then when I go over to like the channel or whatever, and I'm reading through the comments just to see like what's going on with the community, what's some of the feedback. And a lot of the feedback that I was seeing was I couldn't get past the cover image. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I didn't want to watch it. Or they said initially I was like, ick, but then I got through it. So my only question out of this weekend of reflecting and saying, okay, Athena, get past your trigger of that cover image. What is the goal? If the Buttery Brothers were to say, okay, the goal is we wanted to start the conversation. This was our attempt at starting the conversation. I'd been like, beautiful. Was the goal to appeal to just their base? Because if it was, I would say, bravo, it was effective.
Right.
If the goal was to appeal to people outside of their space, and we got to remember the time of year, it's the first week of January, right? Everybody and their brother that doesn't know anything about CrossFit is going to be going. They're going to be typing in terms saying, hey, my fear for them was, I want the video to be seen. It's a cool video, and it shows really good perspective. But what I don't want to have happen is people miss it that don't know them, that don't know who they are, that would pass it up simply because of that image.
Just the thumbnail.
And the thumbnail, I think they're trying to be self-deprecating. Like they're trying to make fun of themselves and make
totally. I'm like, yeah.
And appeal. And to answer your question, I think you're right. It is that they're trying to appeal to their audience.
Totally.
Their audience.
I think that video has so much more potential outside of their base.
Yes.
If they made one tweak, that's it.
Yeah.
Now, if they don't want, they don't need my advice. I'm just saying, like, I think it has a lot more potential.
Yeah.
Going back to the scaling stuff, because it was interesting because I saw what Zombie posted, what his scaling recommendations were, and this is one of the things that we all traditionally do. And what we learn, one of the things I learned in the seminar, just for example, he's got sit-up attempts and kneeling, push-ups, and ring rows over pull-ups. So he's making an assumption that someone's going to be able to get to the ground and be able to get back up.
Yep.
Ring rows, yes. Ring rows are certainly, you can scale those all the way to vertical. That's a good one. The sit-up attempts, that's an interesting one again, because you're assuming that they're going to be able to get to the ground. And one of the things, and that's why this scaling forward is so cool, because this is
critical, really.
What he just wrote there is exactly what I would say in the past.
Yeah.
And that's what I would have people do. And I got into a situation once, it was a dangerous situation actually with someone on the ground. We can talk about that. But the sitting, Athena said, no, sit them on a bench. Start them on a bench. And if you got an incline bench, it's even better. That was the coolest one ever. And you start them with a little tiny incline in that bench and go, okay, now lean back to the bench. And then they feel the bench. And she said, you can use your hand if you want. As a coach, you can stand behind them if you don't have an incline bench.
Or bands.
Or that's right, or bands. Yeah. And they lean back and then sit back up. Lean back and sit back up with their feet anchored. You anchor them with dumbbells.
Right.
And that was cool. And then you keep lower the bench until it becomes a struggle for them. And now you found their place for their sit up.
Find the right stimulus.
Right stimulus.
Workout.
And,
you can do the same thing by sitting. If you don't have incline benches, which a lot of boxes don't, you can accomplish the same thing by sitting them on like the boxes and using the bands, and tell them, I want you to come to here and then go forward. Because ultimately, right, you want to get them using the same muscle groups, right? You want them to get used to the movement in a way that they're not going to be scared going down, because the fear is being able to pull yourself back up again.
We're kind of in a bubble. We were around really fit people. Everybody in this gym is fit every single day. And when you get someone that's deconditioned, it's hard for me to relate. It's hard for other coaches to really relate and understand what is hard.
Right.
And then the fear that they have about doing those things and being embarrassed, humiliated, or stuck.
Kind of takes it back to how important that first, like you said, the intake, how important that first interview is, and just to see where they're at. So then that way, by the time they do start with a coach, because we don't just have everybody just jump in a class, we have to go, everybody goes through an on-ramp, and that's the perfect opportunity for somebody to kind of generate some rapport with that person, but also see where they're at, meet them where they're at, and then show them the process of how they can constantly get better at it.
Right.
Progress forward.
What are both of you all's thoughts on Wad Zombie's recommendation for the kneeling push-ups? What do you guys think about that?
I would go further, because the knees, you don't know what the knees are looking like.
Yeah, so then I would
make an assumption that they're okay getting down on their knees.
So we did wall push-ups.
Then ring push-ups are also another way, because then you can adjust the level, but you're still getting the full range of motion out of the shoulders. Or a barbell in a rack. As an incline. Yeah, that's a great one.
Oh, that's right. Barbell in the rack.
Barbell in a rack. And maybe getting down to the knees is like scale 10. Essentially to get to that point.
10 or 15, yeah.
Let me share this part here, because this is part that also that's relevant to this, and then also,
this squat, when he fell back on the squat,
struck a chord with me, right? So he's using the thing, then he falls back, And that is a possible thing. But here's this is he can't get up, couldn't roll over, and then look at this, he has the arm, and then the coach goes, oh crap, and the coach couldn't get him up by himself.
Both of them were oh crap.
Yeah, both of them were oh crap, and that is that's actually happened to me when I had a very large body athlete in the introductory session. We had everybody sit down. She weighed close to 400 pounds, and she goes out and she said to me, I don't want to go down to the ground. I go, why? She goes, and she whispered this to me to the side. She goes, I won't be able to get up. I go, oh, don't worry, we'll be able to get you up. And I just wasn't thinking. So she did. She sat down. At the end of it, she goes to get up. She couldn't get up. And I went to grab her arm just like that. She didn't have the same grip, and I realized instantly she had no capacity, really muscular capacity, to help me in that position. And I felt like I was going to pull her shoulder out of socket, and I stopped. And I'm like, oh, and my other coach was there, Kyle Zozaya, and Kyle said, hey, can you do this? Can you turn over on all fours? And she says, yeah, I can. And he had her turn over on all fours. He said, okay, now can you sit up on your knees? Yes, I can sit up on my knees. He goes, can you get up on one knee in a lunge position? He goes, yes. And she got up in one position. He goes, okay, can you push off that knee? And then we'll help you. Yes, boom, got her up. That process was like, and I had beads of sweat, not from the effort, but from just the stress, just being nervous, just the stress.
Yeah.
Scared, and I felt awful for her. It was because I felt like it was my fault. And that's a consideration that people have to have. So getting someone off the ground like he did with Julian there, Julian Marquez is like, that's
a real life scenario.
That's a real life scenario. And and in Athena's class, in the large body class, we had a woman there who was, how heavy was she? She's probably 350 or heavier. And she did, and we coached her to a burpee.
Yeah, was that you coached her down to the ground was that the first time she had done a full burpee?
Interestingly enough, that was the first time she had gotten up like that.
Oh, okay. So that was a PR.
Her coach had come to
the
seminar in Austin and then went back.
Got it.
And,
that's right.
But Lisa's her hand position was a little. We learned something coming out of that seminar. We actually built in another scale before they do that, as a learning lesson from that.
So what we did is we had everybody did a burpee, but a burpee for someone that is a very large body athlete is an incredibly scary thing, and a huge effort. And we coached her step by step, sitting on a bench, widening her.
Athena did.
Widening her stance, right? Widening her stance. And then bending over and see if she could touch the ground from that position.
She started from the bench and
touch the ground. And then from the touching the ground, stand up, drop your, bend your knees, lay, and then extend all the way out. Finally, we coached her all the way back and then reversed it. And you, that room was so quiet, and you looked around that room, and everybody had tears in their eyes.
Very misty-eyed,
and just erupted in cheers when she got back up and got all the way back up.
Should have had her in PR bell.
I know we did. We wanted her to.
We had.
Here's a good question,
and that was like, I never would have thought to do that. Yeah,
and that's a lot of times they do, Heidi. So, what if the member doesn't want those options because they don't want to draw attention to themselves? They might tell you.
That's a great question.
Right. And they might say that. And so the options are being able to scale for those progressions without requiring them to get on the ground.
And that just kind of speaks to even how important it is for that intake or that initial, because then you can have that conversation outside of the group setting.
That's happen on the floor.
Yeah, I'm always trying to avoid that. If I know somebody's coming in that, whether they're a large body or I know that they have an injury that they're working around, I try to discuss that prior to going into it. Like, today, this is what I want you to focus on. This is what we're going to do. If you feel good, you can go to this next part.
Right.
So you're scaling them forward, but you have that conversation prior so that way they don't feel on the spot, which is another reason not to want to come back.
Exactly. Because we talk about like experience, right? Craig, you talked about this, the very first thing that you said. We want them to come back tomorrow. Yes, they have a responsibility, right? Their responsibility is to tell you, vocalize, how they're feeling, what they can do, what they're comfortable with, right? That's what they need to bring to the table. But then on the other hand, it's like, if we aren't asking those questions or we're not taking them through that outside of that floor, and if that happens in class, that's what just changed the experience. Something like that could make or break whether or not they come back. Mm-hmm. We're not saying, oh, well, it's their choice. Yes, I know it's their choice. Why would we want to make it more difficult for them? Just all we need to do is take the extra minute to ask the question.
So Athena made another really cool point when we were talking about CrossFit gyms. We walk into a CrossFit gym, right? You walk into Diablo, or I think about Mayhem, for example. The pictures I've seen. I've never been in Mayhem, but I see the pictures, and I know what it must be like to walk in there, just go, this is amazing, wide open space, so many places to do barbell work and running and put boxes out for box jumps and all the cool stuff. Same thing when people walk into our gym, oh my God, this is cool. You guys got 20-foot ceilings, space, and this is something you don't think about. Someone that is a very large body athlete walks in and sees that and thinks, I've got no place to hold myself up. Very few places for me to sit down, or to support myself for balance to do anything.
You have walls. Right. But
walls and pull up rigs against the walls.
Right.
But for the most part, it's a big, wide open space.
Yeah.
And that can be intimidating.
Can be.
Yeah.
Even more reason, going back to that point, that intake.
Yeah. The intake.
Setting that example or setting that precedent right out of the gate.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. We went over the seminar. The reason why we started, urgently got this podcast on going though was for more of a crazy moment for Athena.
That actually happened after we were talking to her, right?
Yeah, it literally. We started talking to her, and then all this stuff started happening on social media, and then there's this huge commitment, and she, Athena, now has a new coach.
Love to have Daddy.
Yeah, which is really remarkable to me because of all the coaches to choose. Here, let me see. I've got it right here.
All the coaches to choose. You have your catalog.
We choose. She chooses this guy, and she calls him out as a kind of a challenge to be her coach. And he is brash. He's an antagonist. He is passionate about CrossFit and what it does for people. And he is a self-experimenter. He likes to experiment on himself. He's facts driven. And he can, if you cross him, he can come at you hard with a very, very large audience that supports him. But she challenged Andrew Hiller to be her coach for a year. And today is the first day of 365 days. And then he got called out on Savant's podcast to take the challenge, and he did, and which is a really cool story. One, I love that the two of you are getting together, because I think it's going to be great for both of you. Andrew, if you haven't met Andrew in person, I have had the luxury of meeting Andrew in person, and he's a genuinely really nice guy. Yeah. And his fiance is even sweeter and nicer. And online, he can be tough and brash and even harsh at times. But when you meet him in person, have conversation with the person, or even direct chats, he's honest, and he's very, and you can tell he's very passionate about all of this. So anyway, I saw that you agreed to, or you challenged him to be your coach. You're 1 year away from surgery that you had, and I don't know if you want to talk about that. And then why? I'm really curious as to why you want to put yourself through this type of challenge for the next year.
I was like, I knew I was going to have to talk about this. Yeah. Like, how was this born?
I mean, you posted it, and then did you guys get right into conversation about it, or?
Yeah. So here's what happened. I was actually inspired by that damn Buttery Brothers video.
Mm.
And I think what inspired me was when me and Craig had the initial conversation about it, it wasn't necessarily a positive thing. And I'm like, what the hell? Blah, 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 blah. It took that weekend of like reflecting and being able to take my own dislike for some piece of it and think bigger picture. Can I get rid of the trigger? You know what I mean? And look at it with the intent. The intent was, and it took me the weekend to process that. But what I learned through that was like, damn, Athena, you know, like you got some shit that you need to work on too. You know what I mean? Like you can teach people, but you're just as guilty of doing the same things that you're telling other people, you know? So I know it was something that I needed to work on. I don't know where the idea came from, but I'm like, I have a project idea. I didn't know what it was going to look like, but I was trying to, initially I was thinking of the Buttery Brothers. I'm like, I'm inspired by this. But then I was like, well, I need something else. Who is the one coach in the community that's just would be like my opposite in every way imaginable? And when I thought of that unimaginable partnership, it was Hiller.
Right.
Not because of anything other than we just see things very differently. I struggle a lot with some of the stuff that he puts out. I've seen some of his, you know, he was talking about nutrition a week ago. And I think that was like the last straw for me. I'm watching this nutrition video. I'm like, dude, you know, it's just one more time that I've been like, what are you saying? You know? And then me wondering and having curiosity, like, can he work with somebody like me? Where you're going to have to do all the stuff that we talk about in the seminar. You're going to have to, what you think of as scaled. And I've seen the comments already. Hiller does a really nice job at scaling. I'm not disputing that. Can he scale for me?
Mm-hmm.
Scaling is athlete specific. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to modify it and send it to you and you should be able to do it. It doesn't work like that. The whole idea is to progress. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when I thought of my opposite, that was it. And it was just, I have to be honest. I don't know that I really thought about it. I just wrote it out and was like, well, this is either going to be the dumbest thing I've ever done, or it might be the smartest thing I've ever done.
Sarah Cooper asked, have you ever had a one-on-one coach before?
Yes, I've had two, and they were the greatest coaches I could ask for.
Uh-oh.
So he's got some shoes to fill.
He's got some shoes to fill.
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. I committed to going into this with an open mind. I don't want to make comparisons on coaches either. There could be something very tremendous there. And I think I already found something last night. And it was really profound. So we had our first conversation last night. Well, let me tell you how it started first, and then I can tell you what happened.
Yeah, will you? Yeah.
So I put it out. Here's what I thought was going to happen. This might be really, really naive on my part. Honest to God, there wasn't a plan. There might have been an idea in those couple of minutes before I hit send, but I thought what was going to happen, I was going to send out the friendly little poke the bear and maybe get a laugh. And there might be some friendly banter. I don't know what the hell I thought was going to happen, but I didn't think he was going to say yes. I thought he'd be like, I'm too busy. And that would be the end of it. That's not what happened.
So it backfired.
And I didn't actually think he was going to say yes. So, I mean, the truth be told, I didn't think that far ahead. But it evolved quickly. And then by midday yesterday, 1:00, I'm having like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that are like reaching out saying, Athena, this is going to be the greatest. You can document all of it. Like, we want to follow this whole thing. And I'm like, what? Follow what? I'm like, oh, I didn't, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, like this is what I just committed to. And it's going to challenge it's literally going to challenge every insecurity, every fear, everything that I know I have. I'm like, okay, let's do it.
It's awesome. It's like putting yourself out there. You know, that's the whole beauty of CrossFit is you put yourself out there. You put yourself in a point that's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then that's how you make adaptation. You know, under those uncomfortable situations, this is something new. You're going to do some stuff. He's going to have a chance to work with you. And
yeah,
you just move forward with everything that's going on with it.
You know, I think one of the things that I was thinking about, some of this was after the fact, but you know, I go around and I teach people stuff that's in this seminar, and I'm wondering, like, is this experience over the year, you know, like going to change how I feel? Is it going to change what I teach?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to. I think that we've done a really good job to cover all those bases, but what if I didn't? I don't know, but I'm willing to find out.
I think everyone is gonna learn from this.
Yeah.
I think everyone that watches this experience is gonna learn. I'm excited. I'm really excited you're gonna do it, because I think it's gonna be. I think Andrew is gonna learn a lot as well, and he has a very large audience. And what's really cool about it, what you've done here basically is you've tapped into his audience to share your message. And your passion, and help with understanding the large body athlete. He'll be your echo chamber, right? The first or I want to say your broadcast for getting that out. And we're going to see it happen firsthand. It's going to be very real. He's going to learn. You're going to learn. It's going to be awesome.
I don't know how we both couldn't learn.
Yeah.
What is the risk? I think that the risk for Andrew is less than mine, but you know, there is an underlying goal. And I think it's going to teach me to, like, look, I got to finish what I started. You know what I mean? Like, I need to be that leader in my community too. And I did a post this morning that was talking about, you know,
I read it.
You know, like, there's things that I need to be like, okay, if we're going to do this, I'm like, let's just get real and dirty and honest. Like, okay, we want accountability. Fine. Have I been perfect? Have I done it all right? No.
One of the things that I think people think with fitness, especially people that are new to fitness, they think they're going to come in and then, you know, they're going to get to a point where it's easy and you really don't have to continue to work on it. Right. And one of the things we try and teach, we teach here at, you know, at CrossFit, is you can't take your foot off the gas.
You cannot.
It has to. It literally, unfortunately, in today's day and age, with, you know, ultra processed foods, you know, the food availability that we have, the more sedentary
quality of food availability,
sedentary lifestyles, everything else, you have to keep your foot on the gas. And one of the things that happened with you is a year ago, you had a pancreatic tumor.
Well,
and had that surgery. But so that's the kind of setbacks, though, that the thing about that is that's the kind of setbacks that people have in their lives.
Yeah.
And people that know and understand fitness and have been doing it their whole lives know, I got to get back on the saddle. I can't stay out of that saddle too long, because, you know, every day off, it gets easier and easier and easier. A new habit comes. My new habit is staying home and watching Netflix instead. And you got to get back on saddle. And so it sounded like, and when I read your post, like you needed something to bring you back to where you were before.
Yes. So when I left Diablo that weekend, I ran into someone that was talking to me about, stuff. And his perspective was, I don't know why we need a course like this in CrossFit, because really I think what it boils down to is people just need a good swift kick in the fucking ass, is what he said.
I know who that was.
I remember when I heard that, like, I was so, like, really, you know what I mean? I was like, no, that's not what it is. And I left there madder than a hornet. And I was mad for a while. I'm like, I'm never talking to him again. Piece of shit. And then I'm having this epiphany last night, right? And I'm like, look at what you do. Like, look at your behaviors. And I'm like, okay, I'm willing to like look at this. Why didn't I like it? Well, I didn't like it because like that person that he was talking about was me. I needed a good swift kick in the ass. Not everyone. Athena did. Sometimes, like I say this all the time, people always say, well, they just need tough love. It doesn't have to be malicious tough love. That's the difference. But I will say some of us do. Some of us need that push that maybe isn't quite as coddling. Like I'm driven by very brash things, and not everybody's like that.
No,
I am. And so when I thought of Hiller, it was like, well, I don't have any doubt in my brain that that's exactly what I'm going to get. So, okay, lean in. That's what you need. Do it,
What is your nutrition plan look like with Hiller? Is he going to be guiding you there and giving you that information, or giving you that as well?
Yep.
And is he doing a macro type plan?
It's more like, we've covered some basics. It's more like, here's what's above the line. Here's what's below the line. If it's above the line, no. If it's below the line, here you go.
Well, I like that.
It's quite simple, actually.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
good.
Someone asked, do you have a target weight that you're trying to get to, or goal weight you're trying to get to with this? Is he asked you for a target weight or set one?
He did. The ultimate goal, I suppose, is to, start CrossFit's 300 Club, which doesn't exist yet, but I want to be the first.
Okay,
that's awesome.
The first CrossFitter that's lost 300 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
That's an amazing goal. That's way better than having a target goal.
Yeah, I love that.
That's great.
Okay. And then your workouts, you're going to do the workouts. Where are you doing the workouts?
In Scaled Nation.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And are you going to be doing them by yourself, or are you going to have someone join you when you do those?
Probably a combination of both. Could be anything.
And is it multiple workouts a day, or is he just giving you one workout a day? And is he giving you any additional movement requirements of those types of things?
Yes, he did. So there's movement every day.
Good.
There can be rest days, but I still need to move for 30 minutes. Yes, we will.
Good.
So I think how it's going to roll is I already committed to doing the vault, Miranda's Street Parking's vault.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you know what's so funny is I saw you accept the challenge or put the challenge out there, and one of the first comments was Miranda. Yeah. She's so awesome.
She reminded me, Athena.
Yeah, this is great. But you committed to the vault.
I was like, I can still commit to the vault. So kind of how it's rolling is it's going to be Hiller's programming modified for Athena. It'll be Street Parking's vault. And then it'll probably be Athena's choice. Athena's choice days will probably be cap. So it's going to be a nice combo.
So it's so politically correct. You're including everybody. So good. I love that though, because I love Miranda and Street Parking. Yeah. The cap programming is getting better, and that's cool. And
you got Hiller Fit,
and then you got Hiller Fit.
Look, I've always been a fan of CAP.
Yeah.
I love the coaching development in CAP. It's good.
Mhm.
Do you anticipate that there will be more strength based, or is it just do you think it's pure CrossFit?
Well, I mean, I've seen Hiller's programming and it looks like pure hell to me.
Oh boy,
good question.
That's the guy I want to be my coach.
I hate admitting it, but yeah, it's got to push. So I don't know. I'm hoping that it fits in line with what CrossFit is, constantly varied. So that's what it should be.
I would imagine that's gonna be the case.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you do your first workout yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Today's the start date, right?
It was gonna be.
Okay, but you're gonna do it tomorrow.
It was gonna be. I had to move the goalpost for a reason. I need to get myself a little bit more organized. One, because this expectation of like, oh, are you going to be documenting everything? I'm like, I hadn't planned on that, but it's going to require some like schedule changes.
Logistics.
Yeah, some logistics. There's a couple pieces of equipment that I don't have.
Oh, okay.
That I need to go out and get today. And then just learning how to use this shit. Like I don't film. I don't even really film with my cell phone. I see everybody on Instagram doing all these videos. One, I don't know how. And two, I'm like, I always shied away from video. So again, it's pushing every uncomfortable place that I have.
That's great. It's good, man. This is like, I love hearing this because like learning how to do that, the only way to do it is to do it. The only way to learn it is to really do it. But that's going to give us some killer content that's going to get better and better and better as this goes. You're going to have a really, really cool story to tell. So will Andrew as well as part of this.
I look forward to following along.
That's fantastic.
Are you guys creating are you guys just going to do like I thought I saw something about like a YouTube channel
or Instagram?
Yeah. I'm like, I know I want to do a channel, like some of this logistic stuff. I'm like,
yeah,
going to be there.
I don't know, maybe like a slow roll, kind of get the feel for all the logistics.
Yeah. Do something uncomfortable every day. Yeah. That's what Hiller told me today too. Part of the assignment is for a year, like only his is like do something hard every day. Well, hard is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Please stand somewhere in a well-lit room. And I, these are always corny, but please, please stand somewhere in a nice room and like in your workout outfit and take a picture today or tomorrow. And then because I can't wait like a year from now, by then you'll be so freaking Insta famous and everything else. We'll have to like book the podcast 6 months in advance. I'll text her and she'll text back, Craig, who?
Awesome.
I can fit you in next year.
Yeah, I can fit you in. Kind of busy. But I want to see the before and after. I think that just would be spectacular. Yeah, I just visualizing it now. I'm already visualizing it now, and it's going to be amazing. Yeah, it's
a huge commitment. Well, here's the thing, though, is I think maybe the benefit here is that it's not the first time I've done it. Like I know what I'm getting into. It's hard, and that's why I said maybe we need to like push this out for a couple days, not a week. Just like give me like today, tomorrow. I just need to. It's a lot. You have to change like the time that you wake up. You have to change everything.
Jamie, you posted in the very beginning the YouTube, and I would encourage everyone that's on here, if you haven't seen it, and we repost that in the comments.
Which YouTube channel?
The YouTube of her.
Oh yes, of her story. Yeah,
yeah. It's 450 pounds famished and force fed and famished.
Yeah.
And it is an incredible documentary that was done. And then there was after that, it was a series of podcasts that Savon did on the CrossFit podcast. And I think those are still up somewhere too. I would encourage everyone to go listen to those. Those are really where I got to know Savon's podcasting capabilities. Was his conversations that he had with Athena were just, almost like pull off to the side of the road, and grab the steering wheel and not cry. They're really powerful stuff. But you should watch that YouTube clip and see the, Athena walking through her kitchen with a walker. Yeah, with the crutches, trying to get through the kitchen, and to know where she is today. And then she was coaching us.
Amazing.
Coaching us in class on the movements and doing the movements. It was so awesome to watch her. I almost couldn't grasp it mentally to say, wait a minute, I'm watching that video and seeing her here and how she moves, because you move really well, by the way. You got an inner athlete. Yeah. And she moves so well. But then I almost feel like we're going to see that. It's like a replay. I get to see it again. I'm going to see you today from where you are today, and then I'm going to see you a year from now, and it's going to be spectacular.
You guys want to hear something funny? Hiller's crew is no repping my shit already. They said, Athena, can you get below parallel? And I said, not yet. And I said, but it's not because I haven't tried to get below parallel, because I had knee surgeries. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm saying it hasn't happened yet, but I'm trying. The angle, it's difficult because it's deflection and the scar tissue.
Yep.
I'm only going to be able to get so low. I'm going to endeavor to keep working on it.
It's not like you're trying to shave reps or shave range of motion.
And they're like, you can't get below parallel. I swear to God, if I have to hear another Hiller video on not being able to get below parallel, I'm like, are you guys shitting me? You're going to be nowhere.
Oh my God. It's awesome. It really is awesome.
I'm like, wow. Okay.
It comes from love, though.
It does. And
I'm going to take it all in good stride. It's going to be.
And I guess if family and friends, they're behind you on this, they're supporting this.
Totally.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
And they're not thinking you're crazy. And
no, they were along for the first ride. So first ride. So now we got, the other half to do.
All right. Where is your next large body athlete seminar?
Ooh. So it's gonna be a fun year. So we start at a place called Bitterroot CrossFit. They're in Montana. One of the reasons that we chose that location was how they are set up at this particular box. They bring in, they have a program called True North, and they work specifically with the larger body demographic. And they brought in like an overseeing doctor, a physical therapist, a mental health professional. And I want to see how all this is working, because in my opinion, like, that is beauty on earth, to have all of those things under one roof. And so I'm totally excited about that. And then in April, I know what it says on our website. It says Nashville, Tennessee. That is actually at the new Proven facility.
Oh boy.
That's exciting.
Oh, that's cool. You get to go there and see that. That's a beautiful facility they got set up.
Stoked.
That's really cool.
So go to scalednation.com. Let me ask you this. If you go to scalednation.com, you can find those events. And again, I would highly encourage your coaches. We're going to experience this more and more and more. As obesity continues to be a problem in this country. And we are a solution for this. But we can
assist in it.
Yeah, but our coaches can do a much better job with a better understanding of how to work with larger body athletes. And this seminar will give it to you. It really will be eye-opening for everyone that does it. And Athena, will you do seminars more than what's on the schedule if someone requests to have one in their gym and they can commit to putting the bodies there?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. We got June will be at Stacy Tovar's gym. And
in
then
Nebraska.
Yeah, it's not on the schedule yet because it was a little bit too far out. We'll be over at Annie Sakamoto's gym
in Santa Cruz.
That's awesome to come back to Cali.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Coming back to Cali. And then we'll end the year out with Adler and over at Adler and
go to Canada.
Right.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I forgot one. We're going to be in the UK in May.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Awesome schedule. I'm loving the success of your business and all that you do. It is powerful. You are an icon in the CrossFit community. And again, I would encourage everyone to go back and watch the video and watch the podcast with Savon early on, and her later ones as well. They're outstanding, but they're really insightful. You inspire a lot of people, Athena, including me.
And me.
And we're grateful that you took the time to do this podcast. And I'm just gonna right now. I'm just gonna throw out a warning to Hiller. we love this woman, and there's a lot of big bad athletes that are really appreciative of what she does, and we'll take it. We got her back, Andrew. So.
Don't fuck this up.
Don't fuck this up. Yeah. take really good care of her, and Athena,
have fun,
kick ass, and have fun.
Thanks, man. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, this is cool. Thanks, you guys, very much for being on today. Thank you
for having me back.
Yeah, absolutely.
So next time, hope to have you back on soon again.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Right on.
I'll break all my news on PRs all day.
Yeah.
Cool. Cheers.
Right.
Thanks, everyone.
Until next time.